Braves road trip starts on a Friday night in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. Braves, Phillies, game 1 of 3. Let's go below the surface, brought to you by our friends at Georgia Aquarium. So we've been talking about this Braves offense, how good they have been. How about the numbers with runners in scoring position, 2 outs and runners in scoring position? All of these numbers incredibly impressive. Has to make Tim Hires a very happy man, and he is down in the dugout right now with Wiley Ballard.
Thanks, Brandon. Now joined by Braves hitting coach Tim Hires. You know, Matt Olson's off to another great start, leads the big leagues in extra base hits. I want to ask you, do you remember the first time you saw Matt Olson hit?
Yeah, when he was probably 11, 12 years old. Yeah, he played some with my oldest son, and so I saw him as a youth, and he was kind of the same player, Mr. Consistent, and you know, what a treat to be around. He's a pleasure to be around, and such a great teammate and a great team guy, and he's one of the guys that, you know, we really depend on, and back in the day and as a youth, that team depended on him also.
Well, you know, that goes further back than I even knew. I was told you were an area scout at the time during his draft year. I mean, what was so appealing about him, and then how has he delivered on what was potential back then?
Oh, you could just see the swing. I mean, the swing's, you know, beautiful. It's nice and easy. You can see the power. You know, he was also a pitcher also, and so, you know, had this free and easy delivery through strikes. You could see the hand-eye coordination, but also you see the passion for the game, and a really smart guy that, you know, was dedicated to his craft and knew that he was only going to get better.
All right, so that's back in high school. Let's talk about present day now in his early 30s. He's off to a terrific start. I'm curious, did you notice any changes from last season? I mean, he's put up good numbers every year. I mean, is there much to tweak with him, or just trying to maintain?
Yeah, he made a few changes. Last year he had just a little bit of struggle with his upper body. He kind of would redirect with his rotation, you know, some balls in, and he kind of, you know, change his rotation, and he didn't hit the ball as well coming into him down and in as like he has in the past, and I know he really worked on that last year and was fighting through some things, and toward the end it got really, you know, much better, and I think that's one of the things he worked on this offseason is really holding his posture and being able to get his hands out front and get that free and easy swing, so when pitchers do make the mistake down to him and some of those breaking balls that hang and stuff that come down and into him, that's when he can get a lot of his slug, and I think you saw it the other night with the lefty. He kind of threw the slider a little too close to him first pitch, and you know, he launched it.
Big picture wise, you know, Ronald hasn't, you know, been exactly what you expect. Michael Harris has gotten some hard luck numbers. Austin Riley's starting to round into form, but you guys are still third in all of baseball in scoring. I mean, that's got to make you feel great about what this offense's ceiling is if you're firing not on all cylinders yet and you're still putting up runs.
Yeah, it shows the depth. I mean, the bottom of the order has carried us a lot, you know, and they've done a really good job of turning the lineup over and putting productive at-bats together. And that's a key for a lineup is, you know, you just don't have the automatic outs. You got guys down there that will work a count or, you know, hit some balls opposite field and do some things that put pressure on the pitcher to wear him down. So when it does roll back around, you know, then it becomes exciting. But the depth of the lineup is really has been, you know, I think one of our big assets.
Well, Tim, thanks for the time, and I think for all the youth coaches out there, we found out the secret. If you're coaching 11, 12-year-old, go find Matt Olson for your team. That works out pretty well?
That works out great.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. All right, we got Braves baseball coming up next. The series opener against the Phillies. Braves and Phillies from Citizens Bank Park. Happy to have you with us on Braves Vision.
Is brought to you by Racetrack, and it is a lineup again without Acuna really firing to his max, or Riley that is performing extremely well in Walt Weiss's first season as the Braves skipper. On the mound, Taijuan Walker. It's been bumpy the last couple of years for Taijuan Walker, and CJ, he's gotten off to a rocky start this year.
He certainly has, and he has changed his ways over the years since he has been in Philadelphia. What I mean by that is that you're going to get a lot of off-speed pitches here. The velocity has come down. He is a pitch-to-contact guy now, and the contact has been pretty good against him.
And what do you have for the Ford Keys tonight?
So Ford Keys tonight, well, you got to get off target. Exactly what we're talking about with Taijuan Walker, meaning you got to get to the off-speed pitches. And how about cashing a check here one time at Citizens Bank Park? Of course, we're at Truist. It's like the all-bank matchup right now. But the Braves have not performed that well here. 18-26 over the last 5 years. Let's get that turned around.
And Acuna will try to get it started in the right direction. And off we go. Very pleasant night here. And you've got two teams that have kind of started very different ways. The Braves 12-7, 3 games up in the East. The Phillies unexpectedly off to an 8-10 start, and they have lost 6 of their last 8. Two balls and 1 strike as the cutter lands for Walker. So as CJ and I were talking about with Walker, he's 33 years old. He's been around for a while. He had some great seasons. 2024 comes around, he struggles. Last year he's back and forth from the bullpen to the rotation, and now he's trying to find himself here in 2026.
So last year, that 4-year $72 million deal. First year went really well in Philly, but after that there have been some real struggles. Basically, they're just looking for him to hold it down until Zach Wheeler gets back. Right, they're a little bit short on their starting pitching right now, and so for me, for them, it's about trying to get some production until they can get everybody back the way they need them to.
And Wheeler could be back as early as next week. He's already made some rehab starts. Right field long run for Garcia. He's the new right fielder this year instead of Castellanos. But instead it's a guy in a Harper jersey that made a nice catch out there.
I've been pretty happy with Garcia defensively. We know Nick Castellanos, and part of the issue was the defense. And for Garcia, the bat's been a little bit slow to come around, but that defense has been exactly what they've needed out there.
Payoff pitch misses, 2-seamer away, and a good start for the Braves. Car shield defense here for Rob Thompson's Philadelphia Phillies. So really it's a new outfield. Kemp was here last year, didn't play much. Crawford's a rookie in center, and then Garcia in right. A more normal looking infield. Sosa gets the start at second tonight in place of Stott.
They've had their struggles defensively so far this year as a group in Philly.
Close.
It's one of those issues for guys that use the oven mitts. It's kind of getting them on as quickly as you can, and for Ronald it wasn't on all the way, and he's not the only one. You just don't have a lot of time, and that was really close.
Drake Baldwin, little tip of the 2-seamer. Of course, it's been a great start. See the numbers there for Drake. 5 homers, 19 driven in. Those 19 runs driven in, third most in baseball. And a line drive base hit for the Braves catcher. And 2 on with nobody out. And Taijuan Walker, who so far this year has given up 9 earned runs in the first inning in 3 starts, is once again struggling here in the first.
He has tried to find ways to combat. There's a good look at the split finger. This one, though, in the middle of the play, right? You're looking for Chase. That's going to be down below the zone. He leaves it right in the zone for Drake Baldwin, who's got such a good swing, keeps the barrel in the zone for a long time, and lines that into right field.
Yeah, 9 of the 12 earned runs that Walker's given up this year have come in the first inning, and the Braves trying to add to that here. Matt Olson now. Now, you and I were talking with Tom McCarthy, their TV voice, before the game, and like you were saying, CJ, they've talked to Walker and said, all right, well, let's change some of your pregame routines. They're trying to get him warmer quicker, try to get him throwing harder earlier. He normally likes to ramp up, but right now he's a little off.
It is a problem as old as time for starters, even good ones throughout the years. Something about that first inning. And listen, even at times we've seen it from Chris Sale, right? Once he gets past that first, and if he comes out of it cleanly, look out, right? He's going to roll. And there's just something about starting and getting that first one under your belt and getting comfortable for a lot of guys.
3 balls and no strikes here to Matt Olson.
Now, to give you an idea of where he's at, too, talked about the off speed. That was a 2-0 split finger there to Matt Olson in trying to shoot for the corner.
Ronald takes off for third base. It's not going to matter. And you already hear some boos in Philly for Walker. So Matt Olson has now reached in 17 straight games. He loads the bases, and Austin Riley to the plate.
And some good success for Austin Riley against Taijuan Walker in his career. 5 for 15 with a triple and a home run. And the Braves certainly want to cash in more than just one here in this inning. They want the Phillies backs against the wall quickly.
Walker able to get ahead 0-2. Most home runs for Riley in his career have come against the Phillies. And certainly when you've got a team like Philadelphia, supposed to be good, off to a tough start, 8-10, have lost 6 of 8. If you can jump out on Rob Thompson's crew in the first at their place, that'd be a great start. Called strike, and Riley is the first out.
I thought maybe there was a chance that we would see a challenge here. It looked like that pitch was up above the strike zone. You talk about leverage spots and when you want to take those chances, that is certainly one.
John Lipka, the home plate umpire, he gave a gift there to Walker. See what Ozzie can do now. Day off yesterday for Walt Weiss and the gang. Took the off day here in Philadelphia. Came up after the finale against the Marlins late Wednesday night. Now ready to rock and roll. And Walker's command issues coming into play here. He's already walked 2, and it's a 3-0 count on Ozzie. Ozzie swinging 3-0. Braves will get the first run of the game, and the Phillies will take the second out here. It's 1-0 Atlanta.
Well, if you're wondering about that 3-0, there are certain times for me when it's okay. Right now, Ozzie Albies is swinging a great bat. You got a pitch here and a fastball that's right down the middle. It's one pitch in one spot. If you're comfortable, go for it. He got a little bit on top of it and hit it into the ground. But I have zero issue with that, and certainly Walt doesn't either, right? If they didn't want him to swing, they would have told him he couldn't, and it was an automatic take. But they trust Ozzie in the way that he's swinging the bat.
And Acuna comes home, and now this becomes a really big at bat here. It could be the difference between 1-0 and 3-0 with Mike Yastrzemski at the plate. John Lipka giving that strike call up above the zone here a little early tonight. '25th pitch of the first for Walker. It's low. 15 balls and 10 strikes so far from the errant right-hander.
And just looking like he's laboring, right? Obviously, that tells you the story right there as far as his inability to get into the strike zone, but it's also that body language. And yeah, he's a big guy, but you can see it. He's feeling it right now. And when you're hitting, you can tell when a guy isn't feeling great.
And now it's full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Walker deals. Yastrzemski grounder off of Walker's glove. He's going to be safe at first. It's an RBI single. Baldwin scores 2-0.
That's a big one, because if they get out of it after having the bases loaded and only the 1 run, I think you'd be disappointed. Yes, hit this ball pretty hard, 98 off the bat, but right back up the box and knocking the glove of Taijuan Walker off of his hand. At that point, nobody was going to have a chance to get it.
And already Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, is going to come out and talk to Taijuan Walker as his first inning struggles this year continue. That's kind of just what you wanted, right? Sure, you'd love more runs,
Yeah.
but as I mentioned, you come in here, Phillies struggling. You already have the crowd booing Taijuan Walker,
right.
and it's only the top of the first inning.
And you got a guy right now who is red hot, who has been crushing it in big spots. He loves this ballpark, does Dom Smith. He's got 8 home runs, double more than the next closest ballpark for him as a visitor, which is actually the 4 that he's hit at Yankee Stadium. So he clearly is comfortable here. We'd love to see another one of those dramatic Dom Smith big hits.
There's parts of 6 seasons with the Mets, so no stranger to the Phillies, no stranger to the National League East. $15 RBI in just 15 games, and looking to add more here is Dom Smith. 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies in their City Connect uniforms here on this Friday night for game 1 of 3. Walker's 30th pitch of the inning. In the air towards Kemp out in left. That retires the side, but a good start for the Braves. 2-0. Couple of runs on a couple of hits for the Braves at the top of the first. Let's go to the bottom half. Trey Turner, veteran shortstop, then Schwarber, then Harper. Those top 3 certainly need no introduction to Braves country. Racetrack is bringing you that lineup for Rob Thompson's Phillies. Martin Perez, it's like he never left. He was designated for assignment, but he's back here to start again.
A lot of that had to do with the fact, I think, that the Braves needed that roster spot. They were hoping Martin would clear and stay. He did, and this is the start you want him to have, a lefty going against the Phillies.
Yeah, the numbers for the Phillies against Southpaw, CJ, they have really, really struggled.
They have, and so that's good news here for the Braves as they sit there and try to figure it out. It's Chris Sale tomorrow, but a 178 batting average against left-handed pitching this year. That's 28th in baseball. The OPS at 559 is 27th.
And Turner, the guy at the plate, 2 for 20 against lefties this year, and he's down to the count 0-2. He spoils the changeup. Yeah, only the Yankees and Mariners worse against lefties entering tonight in baseball.
I think that also gives you an idea of Martin's experience here. Right after he's designated for assignment and clears, elects free agency, he could have left. There are teams that need starting pitching, but he wanted to be here. He's comfortable here. He's done a nice job, and so we're thrilled that he's back.
3rd start for number 3-3 in that Braves uniform. 4th appearance overall. If you remember, the first time he pitched this season, it was out of the bullpen. Riley has to back up. Makes a clean throw across to get Turner. Car shield defense for the Atlanta Braves. Looks like it did on Wednesday night back at Truist Park against the Marlins. Same orientation tonight here in Philly. Well, they got Schwarber back. 5-year, $150 million deal for the 33-year-old. Did you think he would be back in that Philly uniform?
It was a big priority. We had heard some things about Cincinnati and maybe going back home, and hard to get your hands on a really good DH. So we had plenty of suitors, but the Phillies found a way to get it done. I wasn't quite sure if he was coming back. You never know what to believe, right? In some of these things, other teams, even the Pirates apparently had gotten involved. Ultimately, they ended up with Marcell Ozuna. But you just don't have too many of the true DHs around the league anymore, and he has been one of the better ones.
And that changeup comes in and clips Schwarber. So he goes down to first base with 1 out.
And Martin clearly is going to want this pitch down and away, and it just barely gets part of the jersey there for Kyle Schwarber. And I do mean barely. That is just a little bit of a clip.
So 1 on, 1 out. First baseman Bryce Harper. In year 8 of that massive contract that he signed back in 2019. Let's take a look at our Toyota Trends feature. The Braves pitching against left-handed batters. How about 193? So in theory, as we were talking about, this matchup lines up well for Atlanta tonight.
That's the combo you want, right? A team that has struggled against lefties and a team that has pitched well against left-handed hitters. And so again, on paper we get excited about a lot of things. Ultimately you got to go out there and you got to get it done, but you like the way that it lines up.
Well, and you know the Phillies would like nothing more than to turn their season around right now against the Atlanta Braves. One-two pitch coming from Perez to Harper. Curveball down to the dirt. Well, the way the schedule lines up, it'll be 6 games in 10 days, head-to-head Braves and Phillies. Then they won't play until September, and it'll be the same thing. So kind of bookending the season for these rivals. Soft liner, and it gets out into left field for Harper.
It's a good pitch from Martin. Just kind of a bad break there right here. You can tell off the end of the bat wasn't hit hard at all. Just 75 miles an hour. It's a 2-seam fastball. Going to have a little bit of movement. Kind of backdoor there. He hit his spot. That's just Bryce Harper doing a nice job of staying on it long enough.
And Riley did everything he could. So the Phillies try to strike right back, and here's the new acquisition, the right fielder Adolis Garcia. One-year, $10 million deal in free agency to replace Nick Castellanos in right field for Garcia. And the former Texas Ranger takes a strike.
They needed some help here. They took that chance, right? They let Nick Castellanos go. And the $20 million salary that he still had remaining, the defense was an issue. Adolis Garcia, much like Jonah Heim, struggling a little bit the last couple of years in Texas. So he gets a 1-year deal to come here and help out in right field. And for him, really, it's a big opportunity because trying to bounce back, trying to get things going back in the right direction where he was a couple years ago. Good ballpark to hit in. And he's a moments guy. And this place is always going to be intense, and he's one of those guys that thrives off it.
He was incredible in that 23 postseason for the Rangers en route to the World Series. Well, in the top of this inning, Walker struggled, and now Perez is showing some signs of struggle. Nowhere near. Bases loaded with 1 out.
Not a bad idea as Jeremy Hefner's going to come out right now and try to get a reset here for Martin Perez, right? You are always with him as a good ground ball pitcher, good situational pitcher, 1 pitch away from getting out of this with that ground ball.
Edmundo Sosa is going to be the hitter for Philadelphia. Getting the start tonight because a southpaw is on the mound. He's a very valuable utility player for the Phillies. This one line foul to right field. No balls, one strike. That first homer of the season you see on your screen, that came Tuesday against the Chicago Cubs. Well, CJ talking about the double plays. The Braves' most double plays turned in the National League, 22 of them. You can get that ground ball here, it'd be a thing of beauty, but it's 2-1.
And he knows this is a tough matchup going back to last year. Sosa's been really good against left-handed pitching, hitting over 300, OPS over 850. It's a matter of finding that spot. The slower breaking balls seem to be the best.
Change up, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you're a Braves fan, you feel like all the pressure is on Martin. I can tell you for the Phillies right now, with the way things are going, all of that pressure is on Sosa right now.
Two pitch. It's off the end of the bat, foul. Thing is, too, for the Phillies, a lot of their games have been here at home. After this series, 15 of their first 21 at Citizens Bank Park. So a little surprising they're 2 games under. Swing and a miss. Elevated by Perez. A big second out.
A good example of feeling the pressure, right? With Sosa going outside of the strike zone here. It's a 2-seam fastball from Martin, which usually he's going to put down in the zone. It's up and it's out by a considerable amount. But when you're feeling it, when you're putting the pressure and you're pressing, that's what happens. And that's a good job by Martin to take advantage of it.
And now is JT Realmuto. So a couple of 35-year-olds that have been around a long time, and Perez and Realmuto squaring off in a key spot here in the first. Oh, 2, he's ahead of him. What do you like now?
So you saw him go up, you saw him go in. Now, JT Realmuto last year, there were some struggles, but he's very good against lefties, right? So if you're going to expand away, get it out there. He's done a good job hitting the ball the other way, especially with 2 strikes against the lefties. That's a good one. Get out there, get out there. Go ahead and give him a chance to take himself out. That's not the one you want on the corner. You got options here. You can go the hard sinker down. You can cut him back in again. I think what you're seeing is the mixing and matching. That is the name of the game for Martin. He's not going to repeat too often.
He got Realmuto to sky it to shallow left. It's going to be Yastrzemski. And Perez gets out of the jam. No doubt intensified over the last handful of years. And the Braves off to a good start here tonight in enemy territory. Up 2-0. And CJ hat tip to Martin Perez for getting out of that jam.
Unbelievable job there, right? A good time for that visit, like we talked about from Jeremy Hefner. Worked out perfectly. Get him reset. He gets ahead. He gets Sosa to chase, and then ultimately executes a great pitch to get the pop out from JT Realmuto. That is a big one, no doubt, after the Braves put those first 2 on the board.
Dubon leading things off for Atlanta. So Walker threw 30 pitches in the first inning. Perez 29. So both guys labored. The difference, Perez found a way out of it. The Braves with a 2-0 lead.
And it goes back to, listen, Taijuan Walker. And it goes back to, listen, Taijuan Walker is experienced as well. I don't want to take anything away from him, but the experience level of Martin Perez in big spots, he knows it, right? He's been a contact pitcher. He's a guy that's had to pitch with his back against the wall and runners on base. And so he'd been there and done that and comfortable in the moment, and why he wants to be here and why he's back in a Braves uniform.
And Dubon swinging it one up and fouling it back out of play. Of course, thinking of this rivalry, these are the two teams to win the last 8 NL East titles. 3-2. Braves won 6 in a row, and then the Phillies winning in 24 and again last year in 25, but bowing out early in the postseason. 2-2 pitch. And Dubon pops it up. 1 out here in the second. As Harris comes up, I do want to share with Braves Country that we have breaking news. There's been a no-hitter in the Nikowski household.
Big day today for the Creekview Grizzlies as they were taking on the Sequoia Chiefs, last region games of the weekend and trying to get into the postseason. And yeah, Luke showed up in a big way in a 1-0 game. He threw a no-hitter.
That's awesome.
First one of his life. He punched out 9 and had to call him in between innings. And so I apologize if I sounded distracted during the first inning. I'm watching Game Changer while I'm watching our game. And just so excited and proud for him and his team. It was a nice moment.
Yep. Future Georgia Tech yellow jacket. Congrats to you guys. That's awesome.
I knew something might have been up when my wife stopped texting me. I could tell she didn't want to jinx it.
Well, there's a hit for the Braves. Michael Harris. Soft little liner out to center.
Well, very similar we saw with Bryce Harper. 75 miles an hour off the bat, and that pitch elevated for Michael. But watch the hands come in against that cutter. Good looking base hit. And Michael had seen Taijuan Walker really well. He's now 5 for 10 with a couple of homers against him.
Back to the top, Acuna, who walked to start the ball game. He comes up swinging. There's always going to be scheduling oddities. Do you like or dislike the fact that all the Philly Braves games are in April and in September?
Since they're playing poorly right now, I'll take it. In general, sure, you'd love to see it a little bit more spread out. If you're really trying to make the balance schedule good for everybody, right? We've already seen the Marlins. Now we're going to go down there eventually. Like, everything happens kind of quickly. This in particular for the top division teams, kind of wish you could spread it out if you could a little bit more. I understand how difficult it is to make that schedule and make it work for everybody. But now that you're down to just a home and home, essentially the 2 series each, right? 2 home, 2 away. I kind of wish that was a focus. And you like the idea of divisional play late. And I don't know if you should ever make it based on the teams that you think are going to be good. You probably shouldn't. But for me, it's like, hell, let me see the Mets. Let me see the Phillies down the stretch if you could.
Yeah, there will be 7 and 10 days in September between these two. So early and late. Rob Thompson, 4th full season as the skipper over there now. Acuna fights it off to right field, and it is beyond the reach of Sosa. Just enough for back-to-back base hits.
And some really good base running there for Michael Harris. That was not an easy read. It's right in front of him, and he's trying to go as far as he can without getting doubled off. First the pitch here, the 2-seam fastball at 93. So running into Ronald, you can see it kind of get below the barrel there a little bit near the label. But Michael's got to be really careful, and Garcia's got a good arm. He started leaning a little bit. Luckily, it was hit as soft as it was. A little bit harder. That could have been a challenge for Michael to get to second in time.
So the Braves have had 10 at-bats, 10 plate appearances. 6 guys have reached. So a great start here against Walker. Now you've got Baldwin. Takes a strike. But CJ mentioned it with Walker. They paid him all that money for 4 years, $72 million. So he's making $18 million this season. Even if he struggles, would imagine they'll try to shift him back into a bullpen role.
Yeah, I think so. They'd like to get everybody kind of going right now, and of course include Zach Wheeler back into the rotation, and probably becomes a little bit more of a long man. The contract did not work out to the level that they had hoped.
He is able to take care of Baldwin pretty quickly. A splitter dooms him.
That's the plus minus. We talk a lot about Drake Baldwin, his ability to cover pitches off the plate, but that's a good split. He hadn't thrown very many of them tonight. That was going down. That's hard to get to.
So Matt Olson extended his on-base streak to 17 games last inning. See what he does here for an encore. Olson, line drive to right. It will fall in front of Garcia. Harris coming home. Play at the plate, and it gets by Real Muto. And Harris tumbles in safely head first.
You mentioned Garcia being a really good defender. First, Matt Olson here against the curveball from Taijuan Walker. Elevated upper third as he turns and burns on it. But it's a plus arm that you get out there, and this throw was on the money. Unfortunately, it did get by JT Realmuto. One hop, one you probably should handle. I was a little bit concerned here when I saw this slide. You think about the shoulder, the hand there, but Michael seemed to be okay, thankfully.
That left knee pad right around the temple of Harris, but he did get up fine and jogged back to the dugout. So runners at first and second now for Riley.
See JT Realmuto kind of looking down there at Matt Olson. Bryce Harper is not even close to holding him on. He's really far off the bag. And so the advantage here, of course, is a big secondary lead. Ball in the gap could give a guy like Matt Olson that opportunity to score. But I think JT trying to keep him a little bit nervous. But Matt Olson's not falling for that.
He knows the drill. Cutter 1-2. Taijuan Walker already over 50 pitches. He's only recorded 5 outs. Out to right center. Garcia, long way to go. And it is gone. Austin Riley puts it into the seats at Citizens Bank Park. And those boos are a thing of beauty for Braves country. Just like that, it is 6-0.
Remember the ball that he hit at home that we thought had a chance in right center field? It told us that Austin Riley's swing was back and the comfort level was there. Cutter here, elevated, not cutting much at all, and just kind of a spinner. And it turns into an 88-mile-an-hour straight fastball that Austin Riley deposits into the right field seats.
So Riley, his first home run of the season the other night against the Marlins. Now homers in back-to-back games, and that is a big one. And if the air wasn't already out of this place, it is right now. You can hear a pin drop at Citizens Bank Park.
Still one of my favorite. Now we've only been together for a couple of years, but moments that might have been that first game that we did here a couple of years ago when you're talking about this fan base. And they were booing every Braves player as they were being introduced. And that lasted for about 6 innings. And then the last 3, they were booing their own bullpen. That's great.
You never know. Left field. Kemp in foul ground makes the catch. But the damage is done. 4 more. Riley with a big swing.
It's a thing of beauty right here. Wasn't sure if it was going to go, and it did. A 3-run shot here for Austin Riley, his second against Taijuan Walker in his career. Breaks up big.
Braves setting the tone here in this series against Philadelphia, 6-0. So Perez with some cushion as he's out there for the bottom of the second. It's Bohm, Crawford, and Kemp, 7, 8, 9. Alec Bohm was starting the season in the cleanup spot, but April 10th they dropped him because he's been slumping. Just 1 hit in his last 6 starts.
Yeah, the overall numbers, you can see the batting average here, 145, not very good. He does have the 1 home run. The strikeout rate is low. It's all respectable. Chase rate is low, but he is just not getting his hits.
He also started the season very slow last year, and then he picked it up. Hit .308 after May started. 1-2. Sends it out towards Michael Harris. The wind is blowing in from left center, so keep that in mind tonight. 1 away. And now Justin Crawford. This is Carl Crawford's son. Speedster, center fielder, young rookie. He can lay down the bunt. He showed it there.
One of the issues that they've had is trying to find some consistency in their outfield. Center, left field, there's been a lot of kind of interchangeable parts these last couple of years for the Phillies. And Crawford being one of their top prospects. A lot of talk about him in spring training. Ends up earning the job. Good defender, good speed. Not necessarily going to slug. There's not a big part of that in his game right now.
Got him with a 2-seamer. And that one caught Justin Crawford pretty good. So that's 2 hit by pitches already for Perez.
Now the arm side run, right? The first one was the changeup to Kyle Schwarber. This one here, the 2-seamer. You're going to want to see how late he is with getting that arm through the way that he wants to right there. I mentioned the great speed, so not exactly a guy you like to put on base for free.
And young legs over there at 22 years old. Now Otto Kemp made his debut last year in June, so this is his first full big league season. Swinging, popping it up. Baldwin will not have a play.
And we say great speed. So far, though, it's only 1 stolen base, and he's been caught twice, right? So speed is one thing. Stealing bases at the big league level is another.
Well, his dad could run. 4 times he led the American League in stolen bases, Carl Crawford. First time that Perez has hit 2 guys in the same game since 2021. Let's see if he can straighten things out here. 0-2 pitch. Slow roller to short. There's 1 at second, but they won't be able to get 2.
You know, the weak contact, almost wish that this ball was hit a little bit harder. And you also have Mauricio Dubon in this tough spot of whether or not you go underhand or do you go overhand with the throw, right? It's kind of that tweener distance at this point. He decides to go low, and then also the toss was low. You go overhand, you get a little bit more on the throw, but maybe not as accurate. Not an easy one for the Gold Glover.
Turner out in front of that curve from Perez.
And And don't doubt that when Martin Perez gets back in the dugout, you see that miss there, very similar to both of the hit by pitches, and just kind of keying on what it is that is maybe causing him to leave some of these balls up and away more than he'd like them to be. Again, could be a timing issue, could be how quick you're getting the ball out of the glove.
Toward the gap, Michael Acuna over there, and Acuna, he got that. He reached up and grabbed it at the last second, and that keeps the Phillies off the board. It's still 6-0. What a catch.
Martin Perez thrilled with this as Ronald goes full extension here and brings it in. Great catch there to save a run.
So Acuna, full sprint to the gap, reaches the arm up, makes the catch, keeps it at 6-0, and sends this game to the third inning.
When he took that second look to the wall, I thought he wasn't getting it. And it's a little bit of a challenge here for us because you have that kind of lighted screen in the back of really getting the feel as the ball's coming down where it is. And that was a tremendous play.
And it's been a tremendous start. 2 in the first, 4 in the second for the Braves. Yastrzemski drove in a run in the first for Atlanta. 1 for 1 tonight. Yaz's RBI single came with 2 out, 2 strikes. Riley's homer came with 2 outs and 2 strikes. So the Braves continuing their clutch hitting so far this season.
And that's part of what you get right now with Taijuan Walker, right? Even though you'll see a 94 here and there, the swing and miss is really low. It's a well below average strikeout rate. So even when he gets to those 2 strike counts, okay, he gets one here, but you're just not going to see a ton of swing and miss against him.
And it's diminished some later in his career, right?
Yeah,
as the velocity has gone down.
And he has had to adjust, and he's not the first one that has had to do this, right? I mean, this is a guy that has had a relatively lengthy career. Here he is now at 33 years old, and, you know, with kind of the old phrase, we joke about it, but you lose your fastball. It is a real. And then it comes down to how can you react and keep yourself in the game and keep yourself competitive. He's actually done a really nice job with that pitch right there. Front door 2-seam fastball to lefties on that side of the plate.
Ooh. This ball hit well out to right center off the bat of Dom Smith. He's done it again, folks. A bomb from Dom. It's 7-0, and more boos in Philly. .406 feet, his 4th of the season.
And make it now 9 in this ballpark in the career of Dominic Smith. He loves him some Philly.
Everything is going the way of Atlanta right now.
And take a look at the pitch here. It's a split that just kind of hangs in the middle of the plate. Again, we've seen some good ones where he's got some bite. He can keep it down and away, but mistakes in the zone are just getting crushed. And it's a thing of beauty. See how short he is, too? That's the other thing, right? This is not a big swing. There's not a lot of movement. He's quick to the baseball, but he can drive it.
Whoa, 92, catching Dubon in the back.
Two-seam fastball running in. The question becomes now, was there intent? It looked like actually he might have caught some of that oven mitt, which may have helped here for Mauricio Dubon. Well, maybe not. Not that side view. But maybe some of the elbow pad.
A credit Dubon. He turned around, dropped his bat, trotted down to first. No stare out at Walker. Now here's Harris. And that one inside.
Well, if the command gets that bad as he has now thrown 68 pitches through 2 1/3, regardless of what's going on with your bullpen, it's your duty, in my opinion, to get somebody up here, right? If it starts to get real wild.
They're stretching in the bullpen, but nobody is throwing right now for the Phillies.
There are times where you have to eat those innings and just wear it, and that could be a 9 or a 10 spot potentially. But if the command isn't there, Rob Thompson's been around this game for a long time and highly respected guy. He wouldn't let it happen, but it is something they need to keep an eye on.
You go back to 2024 for Walker, where things really came off the track. That's when he had an over 7 ERA. He had a shoulder injury that year. He had a finger injury. Said he completely lost the feel for his splitter. He basically abandoned it that season. And now Michael Harris gives this a ride out to center. Crawford drifting back, and he's got it on the track. But it's almost as if Taijuan Walker has never really gotten back on track since the start of that 24 season.
You start to see it for a little while, and you say, okay, did you figure it out again, kind of doing things a little bit differently? It's only around 30% fastball usage combined between the 4 and the 2-seamer. Again, going back to last year, it's one of the lowest in all of baseball among starting pitchers, but he just has not found a way to do it consistently.
A challenge from Acuna.
Pitcher's called a strike. Batter's challenging.
See, this fastball looked like it was below the zone, but no, it catches.
One challenge remaining.
ABS challenge powered by T-Mobile, and the Braves down to 1 challenge. That one found the bat of Acuna. He is frustrated as he bounces out accidentally to Harper. But Dom Smith adds to the lead, 7-0.
The Dominator, what a story he has been here for the Braves, and he does it once again in Philly, and the Braves continue to pound the Phillies. 7-0 here in the third.
And there was some speculation earlier this week about who might get this Friday night start. I asked Walt Weiss today why they decided to go with Martin Perez. He mentioned a couple of things. One, he's got experience and he can defend himself. We saw that in the bottom of the first. Two, as you've seen across the sport, keeping pitching depth inside your organization is critical. 2/3 of the league has already had to use 6 starters, and of course last year the Braves had to use 19 starters, which led all of Major League Baseball. You also keep in mind you like guys like J.R. Ritchie and Didier Fuentes, but those are also guys that you can control when it comes to options, keep them in the mix, and again, no urgency to rush them along. And then finally, you look at Chris Sale maybe going on 4 days rest. I think it's important to remember that over the 50-plus starts that Chris Sale's made with the Braves so far in his 3-year tenure, only 30% of them came on 4 days rest.
Well, to piggyback off that too, Wiley, as we've talked about, you get Sale going tomorrow, you get a lefty going tonight. Phillies have struggled against lefties. Friday night in Philly, you're anticipating a hostile crowd. This is a veteran in Perez that's seen almost everything.
That's a great point, right? Because some of these young guys you are excited about right now in the Braves system, and Martin does a nice job picking up a strikeout here on his changeup. But not everybody is ready necessarily for this atmosphere. Something we talked about with Fuentes that got kind of interesting. As good as he was in spring, is he ready for that big league test in kind of a big moment? I think he will be in due time. But you'd much rather have the lefty, you'd much rather have the veteran, and it also goes back to establishing a culture in which Martin Perez wants to be a part of, right? He got a taste of it. He could have left. There's a lot of teams around the league that need help, but he wanted to be back, and we're certainly, again, glad he's here.
Strikeout of Schwarber, and he gets ahead of Harper 0-1. Harper had a single in the first inning. Out to left field. Sharp grounder, and it gets past a diving Matt Olson. It rattles around in the corner. He's going to try for 3, and it is going to be a stand-up triple for Bryce Harper. It took a very friendly bounce for the Phillies.
91-mile-an-hour, 2-seam fastball, not a bad one. That's inner third. You got a big league. You want to shoot kind of thirds, right? Don't want to get too fine, and it just hit a perfect spot. Matt Olson under the glove there down the line. And those are tough ones to go into for a right fielder. Anytime you go into the corner and the ball's kind of hugging the line, you're always wondering, will it catch the wall? Got to be a little bit careful as you're going in, and you got the bounce and the break that Bryce Harper was looking for.
Just the Phillies' second triple of the season. Crawford had the other one. And Harper 90 feet away from breaking the goose egg for Philadelphia. Two balls, one strike. We talked about Garcia and big moments. Go back to those 23 playoffs where he won the World Series. 8 home runs, was the ALCS MVP en route to the title that year in Texas.
It was a wild one. It went 7 games. Every win was on the road between the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros, and Garcia was right in the middle of all of it, including a little bench clearing incident that happened on a hit by pitch. It was intense. But he hadn't quite been the same since, right? They gave him a 2-year deal to help with some arbitration years. He wanted more and never quite performed, and so now he's looking for that reset here in Philly.
3-1 off the plate inside. That's 2 walks and 2 plate appearances for Garcia.
Remember, these guys were there together, Martin Perez and Adolis Garcia, teammates for a couple years in Texas.
Now the other guy that was on that team, Jonah Heim, is now in a Braves uniform as the backup catcher. Here's Edmundo Sosa. Very pleasant. 74 degrees right now in Philadelphia. It was hot yesterday, 90, but it cooled off today.
And we should enjoy it while we have it, because it's going to get pretty chilly here before this series is over. It looks like it's going to be kind of cold in D.C. when we get there as well.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday night looks like game time temperatures are going to be in the upper 40s.
And as high as we are, where you take about 10 degrees off of that.
The upper 20s up there. Popped up. This is a great result for the Braves and Perez here. Runners stay at the corners, 2 down.
Looks like Martin might have been having a little bit of fun there with the Adolis Garcia and challenging to swing the bat after those 2 walks.
You mentioned former teammates. Adolis chatting over there with Matt Olson.
It's kind of weird, though, that he got the same chain that Wiley has. Like, you got to get a little more original, I think, for these guys.
Well, but Wiley's is real. Theirs is the fake one. Yeah. Ground ball just foul down that line. Umpire Dylan Wilson was looking right down at it.
Austin's in that good spot after that hop, and luckily this one just was outside. I think he kind of knew it too, right? I mean, if it's borderline and you think it's got a chance, he's probably laying out there.
JT Realmuto waits an 0-1. And Perez, no balls, 2 strikes. Remember, Perez got out of a bases loaded jam in the first. He's trying to do the same thing here with them at the corners in the third. But a little high on the pitch count with all the traffic. This will be the 62nd pitch of the night for Perez. Left field. Yaz back though, and he's got it. Backing up onto the track, and the Phillies still scoreless, 7-0 after 3. Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Truist. Not easy to walk at Citizens Bank Park wearing Braves gear, but a lot of folks do it, and they are enjoying what they are seeing through 3 innings, 7-0. Walker will be back out there facing Baldwin, Olson, and Riley. And the first pitch of the 4th is popped up towards Turner.
Got a 1-out triple in a 7-0 game, and you almost kind of make the assumption that that run is going to score. Right, the infield is back. You don't want to turn to any kind of big innings, so you're kind of trying to pitch to the bigger parts of the zone. Even though we saw the walk, it's a really nice job by Martini to get out of that last inning.
Yeah, that's twice he's worked his way out of jams. Well, for Walker, it's been the opposite. And his season started off wobbly. He allowed 7 runs in his first start this year against the Nationals, and now 7 more tonight already, and counting to Atlanta. Yellowwood bringing the lumber feature. A check down, he did not go, by the way. Olson with a hit in the second. That hit streak now is at 10 games.
And he's been locked in, and not just getting his hits, but hitting the baseball hard with the 3 homers. He's also scored 10 runs. And on base once again, 3 times now tonight.
And 2 walks to go along with that single. Now Riley, last time up, he's had the biggest swing tonight. That 3-run homer in the second to right center.
You're talking about kind of how things have gone here for Taijuan Walker. That game that he pitched, that first one against the Nationals, when he gave up the 7 runs, he went 4 2/3. It took him 99 pitches to get through those 4 2/3. And so you sit there and you look and you see him at 81, and it probably is about, you're going to keep going and suck up as much of this as you can.
This one's going to get out of play. And he's already over 80 pitches tonight. And usually at this point you have at least a few 1-pitch at bats, but that Baldwin pop-up was the only 1-pitch at bat we've had tonight. Riley takes the slider to even the count. Well, look, coming into this ball game, and Braves fans certainly knew the story, but the Braves rotation 2.84 ERA, best in baseball. Phillies 5.11, fourth worst, and it's kind of played out that way so far tonight. 2-2 pitch.
Yeah.
Called strike. 1 challenge left. He's not going to use it.
And he had the one earlier, right, that I think we both thought was clearly a ball. And I had to look really quick, and I don't think Austin Riley has challenged all year. And so you wonder, too, of what his comfort level is, because that one looked like it was out of the zone. That always looks a little bit closer when we do that, but it's twice now that he ends up striking out looking on pitches that very likely would have been turned over in ABS.
But he had that big 3-run homer sandwiched in between the 2 strikeouts. So now a 1-0 coming to Ozzie. Ozzie puts it in play towards Otto Kemp. So nothing for the Braves at the top of the 4th. Time for our Whataburger, What a Play. So you've got Sale going tomorrow, Perez tonight. This is most career starts among active lefties. So 2 veterans, and so far Perez working his way around some trouble. And then tomorrow you get Sale, and hopefully this series continues to trend in this direction.
Obviously, you still got a ways to go here, but this is big the way that this one is trending right now, and potentially getting this first win with Martin on the mound, because I love the way that it lines up after the fact, as you mentioned, with Chris Sale.
And then you'll have the broadcast on Sunday on NBC and Peacock with Grant Holmes and Andrew Painter going head to head. Yeah, you might need a coat for that one, partner.
Well, I got my big, thick City Connect coat, so I might have to break that out if they'll allow it. I got to wear a suit. That's not gonna be fun. Tie. Can't wait to see John Kruk in a tie. You get the impression from talking to people around here, it's kind of like trying to dress up your kid for church. It's like, hey, man, you got to dress nice this time around.
It'll be fun to watch you guys Sunday with Jason Benetti. And then who's down doing the pitches?
Anthony Rizzo.
Or Rizzo down there. Okay.
They still call it the inside pitch. It's an interesting thing that they're doing. So, yeah, it should be fun. Most importantly, I just hope we're having that opportunity to talk about a Brave sweep. And the Phillies really have struggled here at home. They've already lost 3 series in this ballpark.
Oh, a challenge from Baldwin.
Bohm seems frustrated that he's doing it.
Call the ball. Catcher's challenging.
Because he knows it's close, and this was a cutter, so it's coming back toward the corner. I think they got a chance here.
They do have a chance.
Strike 3. Atlanta has 1 challenge remaining.
And a frustrated Alec Bohm is headed back to the dugout.
Well, he's definitely feeling all the pressure in the world, right? I mean, this is a guy who's struggling. He is a free agent at the end of the year. There was some talk about could they go out and acquire a third baseman this past winter, including Bo Bichette was in the conversation, and so it didn't happen, and now he's off to this slow start, and it's been a rough go of it for Alec Bohm.
It seemed like they might have been close to getting Bo Bichette before he signed with the Mets. I think if they would have, that would have been it for Bohm, right?
I think so. It's either basically him or Stott that would have played second base.
Hit hard out to right, but there is Acuna.
Unless they had Bo Bichette play second base, because we didn't hear much about him going to third until he signed with the Mets. I thought he was going to go to second. We saw a little bit of that in the postseason when he was with Toronto. Let's take a look at this Rocky start that we're talking about. 2-6 now in their last 8. The struggles against lefties, the struggles at home. There's just not a lot of positive to point to right now for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And if you add in this 7-0 score, it's a minus 32 run differential this year for the Phillies. You compare that to the Braves, who were at plus 44, second best behind the Dodgers. So 2 teams headed in opposite directions. There is action now. Meza is throwing for the Phillies. Nobody is throwing for the Braves. This is the 75th pitch for Perez. 3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 down.
He's starting to show even better and better command to that arm side. We saw it with Bohm. You see it there with that cutter just coming back and catching that outside corner. And again, a lot of times for Martin, it's really the same pitch in a row. It could go 2-seamer away now. They did it.
And a called strike, and it did clip the zone, and it's the first 1-2-3 inning for either side tonight. Walton Beach, Florida, by Chevrolet and by Xfinity. Reliable Wi-Fi at one price. Xfinity, imagine that. Well, the Braves are throwing all the punches tonight. 7-0. You can look at the Rocky statue, the art museum. And the Braves have already chased Walker out of this game as we go to the 5th. Tim Mazur, the lefty, replaces him.
They run a little bit deep on the left side down in that Philadelphia Phillies bullpen. 4 lefties there right now, but for Rob Thompson, you were not wanting to get into your pen this early. So the good news for these Braves hitters, you get a look in a 3-game series, and guys are very likely to see again.
See the numbers for Mesa. First 7 appearances were scoreless this year, but he got tagged for 4 runs against the Cubs on Monday.
It keeps it pretty simple. 2-seam fastball and a slider, a couple of 4-seamers, but really just about those 2 pitches. Very typical what we call a sinker slider guy. Does it from the left side. And you see that really long arm motion that he has. It can make it a challenge to repeat that. And at times that's where you start to have some command issues, when you have the longer arm swing and a lot of 2-seamers.
And Yastrzemski lifts it high and deep out to right field. Garcia on the track to reel it in. Dom Smith coming up, and that'll be our trip around the bases, his homer last time up. It's brought to you by our friends at Destin Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
He got that opportunity to take the trip around the bases on a pitch that just hung right in the middle of the plate. 406 feet here, no doubter for Dom Smith, and he just continues to amaze. And what a story that he has been here for the Atlanta Braves.
It's now 16 runs driven in the 16 games that he has played wearing that Braves uniform.
Remember at the end of spring, I went back and I was looking at his transactions, and I kind of forgot that he technically got released at the end of spring training. It was kind of procedural because of his service time and the way that that works for the kind of older free agents on minor league deals. But so he did get released. He could have went somewhere else. The Braves very much wanted him to stay around, but you also in those situations got to give yourself flexibility to see what else might happen at the end of spring. Does somebody else potentially open up for you? Is there a better position player maybe that would have fit better than Dom Smith? And none of that happened. And then the Braves of course told him that he made the roster, and it's a good thing they did.
Everything has worked out as well as you could have possibly imagined. But this time he bounces it right back where it came from. 2 away.
Well, here's the other part of this, right? I think we knew coming in, Dom Smith is not going to see a lot of left-handed pitchers. I think it's only his 3rd plate appearance against a lefty so far this year. But when you have these leads, you keep him in there. The other day, Walt kept him in on a somewhat closer game, and I'd wondered about it because we've seen the kind of pinch hit situations happen. But you want to make sure he stays in the lineup in case you need him later against a righty. Now they do have, again, 4 lefties in the Philly pen, so it might be different as it gets later in this game.
After all the base runners, now it's back-to-back 1-2-3 innings. Who's got the sauce? Well, CJ, how about Perez? Stranded 6 Phillies tonight.
Early on, got into a little bit of trouble. We talked about this, so veteran pitchers understand they don't let the moment get away from them. They don't try to do too much. He made the pitches when he had to make them, and now it seems like getting a little bit locked in on that pitch right there. Both the breaking balls to the arm side of the plate. The back door to the righties has looked really good here lately, and that's a beautiful looking line here for Martin Perez against these Phillies.
Out towards Ronald Acuna Jr. off the bat of Trey Turner. You see that wind, it's blowing left to right, and Acuna's able to get to it.
And even that Yaz fly ball, right, that we saw Garcia ultimately end up catching, that one kept moving pretty good.
And it's picked up a little bit out there. A good crowd tonight at Citizens Bank Park, but so far the Braves have kept them from cheering at all. It's just been a smattering of boos. Into the wind to left. Does it have enough? Nope, the wind knocked that thing down off the bat of Kyle Schwarber, and he knows it.
Well, you see your outfielder in that situation, and Mike Yastrzemski, go pretty much all the way to the wall. And so at that point, you're like, all right, does it have a chance? Did I get it enough? And then you start seeing him take those steps in, and it's absolutely heartbreaking right here for Kyle Schwarber, because I think he thought he got it.
Of course, it was in this ballpark last year, August 28th. Perez even smiling about it. That Schwarber had the 4 home run game, just the 21st time in Major League Baseball history. Harper with his 3rd hit, so he's the one Philly that came ready to play tonight. 2 singles and a triple.
Well, I think now here for Martin. 3rd time around as he goes through the middle of this order. He's walked Adolis Garcia twice. He has seen all of his pitches. So this becomes a little bit of a challenging at bat. You certainly don't want to walk him again.
Braves bullpen is still quiet for now. Sharp grounder, but Ozzie cheating up the middle. He'll take that and tap the bag. Perez through 5 with a 7-0 lead. Games with no local blackouts. You can subscribe right now, Braves.tv, and watch for less than 70 cents a game. Brandon, CJ, and Wiley with you here in the city of brotherly love, and all the love right now is for Braves country. 7-0. Every Brave has reached at least once tonight, and Harris laces that 2-seamer foul.
I think the off day served everybody well, right? Even though we got in pretty late. I guess it was on Wednesday. Take the off day Thursday, a little reset, and get ready for this big series. And these guys have come out firing.
And I wasn't present for it, but I understand you won the first unofficial Braves Vision Ping Pong Championship.
No, it's always about kind of what you did last. And so while I appreciate that, it was very unofficial. It was fun to spend some time with the crew and play a little ping pong for the first time. But
another single for Harris, his 2nd hit. Upon announcing about your ping pong title, someone named Gretchen got in my ear and said, ask him about Connect 4.
Yeah, so that was the issue, because that's where I have a little bit more pride. As you take a look at this 2-seam fastball, good to see from Michael left on left, right, to be able to get to this fastball and hit it pretty hard at 107. I actually have a little bit more pride in what I believe is some pretty good Connect 4 ability. We call it redneck chess. And I got smoked by Gretchen and Shooter. I left there 0-2 and completely dejected.
So that really put a damper on your ping pong title.
I'm just forgotten. I'm like, what have you done for me lately? What you've done is you got an 0-2 record in Connect 4. I'm going to go back to playing baseball players. That's what I usually do pretty well.
Big swing there from Ronald Acuna Jr. A walk, a single, and a ground out for Ronald tonight. Off day came at a good time with the Braves not getting to the hotel until about 2:30 in the morning. Wednesday night, late, early Thursday morning after that series against the Marlins. But everybody got to sleep in yesterday and recharge. Not Wiley. Wiley was working somewhere and flew in this morning. So no off day for Mr. Ballard. Ronald fouls off the 2-2 two-seamer. Lefty Tim Meza firing in, missing down, full count. Bulk of Meza's career as a lefty specialist with Toronto, but he is from Eastern Pennsylvania and he grew up a Phillies fan. So coming here and getting a chance to put on that uniform, an honor for Meza. Acuna liner toward the gap. Diving attempt and a diving catch by Otto Kemp.
Really good play out there in left field. I thought actually this was going to get down. Looked like it may have had some topspin, but Otto Kemp goes full extension, hauls it in. Tough break for Ronald.
Appreciated by the southpaw, one away. And now a lefty-lefty matchup with Drake Baldwin. Last year, Drake Baldwin, Rookie of the Year, besting Cade Horton of the Cubs. Bad news for them. He did have to have the full Tommy John surgery, Cade Horton, so he'll be out 15 to 16 months.
Man, I saw that tough break for him right there. A little careful down the stretch where he wasn't feeling right. Thought he'd be okay for this year. And that's a tough break for the Cubs. And again, as we talked about Martin and how grateful we are that he is back here, that was a team certainly I thought that could have been in that conversation for Martin Perez. The Blue Jays have had all kinds of issues with starting pitching and injuries, and instead he's here. And that's the value too of going through spring training, getting to know everybody, spending the time that he did with Jeremy Hefner, again getting a feel for the culture. And then listen, at this point in your career, sure, you want to pitch, you also want to win and feel like you have a really good opportunity to win.
Slowly grounded to Sosa. And they get the 4-6-3 double play. So leadoff single by Harris, but no damage. Braves scored 2 in the first, 4 in the second, 1 in the third, and we've been there ever since. And now the first pitch in the bottom of the 6th is a thing of beauty. High throw, but good job by Matt Olson. And Martin Perez has a chance to get through 6 here in game 1 of this series for Atlanta.
And that would be absolutely incredible. And a good looking pitch here, the sinker. Now the throw almost gets away from Dubon, and you don't see the foot first slide into first base very often. Kind of a reaction, I think, there from Sosa. There's the one time where it is okay to go head first, and these are these kind of plays, right, to be able to try to get around those potential high tags. But there was enough time for Matt Olson to get back down.
So after that long start for Perez in the first inning where he threw 29 pitches, bases loaded, 1 out, he gets out of it. It's kind of been like a fine wine. He's gotten better. Last inning, just 6 pitches, and then you get a 1 out or 1 pitch out to start the 6th. I got to tell you, CJ, when you go back to the first inning when he hit Schwarber, Harper singled, and he walked Garcia. If you would have told me he'd be in the 6th and it was 7-0, I don't know that I would have believed it.
I would not have either. And if you were asking us, hey, after the Garcia walk, give us a prediction of how this game's going to go. And I know you mentioned this the other day. The games have feelings, and that one felt like it was going to be this 9-8 type of game that who knows who was going to win it, and maybe some back and forth with 2 starters struggling. But Martin got the big strike out of Sosa. Chase that pitch outside of the strike zone, and then they got JT Realmuto, who's been good against lefties, to pop up. That was big. That changed everything.
And then in the third, with runners at the corners and 1 out, he got Sosa again to pop up and Realmuto to line out to left, and that was all she wrote then. Dubon, tougher play here. And he did all he could, but Real Muto with a single.
Say what, man, I didn't think there was much of a chance, and there really wasn't, but Dubon had a little extra on this throw. After he was able to get to this ball in the slide, he let it go a little bit and got it there almost all the way in the air to Matt Olson.
That's the first hit for the Phillies by somebody not named Bryce Harper. They have 4 hits, Harper 3 of them, and now that one by Real Muto.
Alec Bohm started kind of reaching up and thinking about challenging it. Remember, went the other way against him in his last at bat where he got rung up on a pitch that Drake Baldwin challenged.
Phillies still have both challenges. High into the air. Remember, that wind is blowing in from left center. A message right now from Delta.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
So 2 down, 1 on, and now Justin Crawford. High bouncer. Ozzie hurries and gets Crawford at first, and now Perez is through 6 scoreless.
This season, it's hard to imagine the Braves getting off to any better of a start, both on the mound and at the plate. And Matt Olson, yet again, has been a big part of the formula for the Braves offensively, leading Major League Baseball in extra base hits entering play today. And guys, I had a chance to catch up with Tim Hires earlier today, and he kind of gave me a little insight on what Matt worked on this offseason. You know, at the end of the 2025 campaign, Matt felt like he didn't do the same amount of damage on pitches down and in that he had done in previous seasons. So he spent a lot of time trying to maintain his posture on those pitches down and in instead of redirecting, and hopefully that's going to allow him to do a little more damage on that nitro zone for left-handed hitters.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's interesting because I think if for a left-handed hitter, if you're thinking about the place you can always go to do damage, it should be in that spot kind of down and in. We talk about it for decades with lefties. There's something about their swings where they just seem to get to that nitro zone, as Wiley mentioned. And it's not to say that it gets neglected, but if all of a sudden you don't see the results you want, maybe they got to address it a little bit and figure it out. But he's been excellent this year.
And he's been great tonight. A couple of walks, an RBI single. The Phillies have yet to retire him. Tanner Banks is on out of the bullpen here, and he almost hits Matt Olson.
Yeah, Banks had gotten off to a pretty good start. His last outing, however, gave up 3 runs. Just 4 total on the year. You see good strikeout to walk ratio there, but he struggled against the lefties. Now he's only faced 10 of them, but 4 for 10. That's an even 400 batting average and a 900 OPS. Wait, am I looking at the wrong one? One of us was wrong. I guess we'll find out soon enough. I think it was them. I think it might have been them this time.
I'm banking on you.
I know.
I'm banking on you.
I like how you did that too with Tanner Banks. You should be banking on me, but you know what? I bet you have 25 here. No. I'm telling you, man, I think
Well, here's what you can do now. You can tell us the last time Olson had 3 walks in a game.
All right, that's what you want. I get you. Give me, throw me that tennis ball. I'll go chase it somewhere else right now.
So 3 walks and an RBI single for Matty O. Riley, his big swing came in the second. The 3-run homer at the time put the Braves up 6-0.
He did it twice last year. The last time was July 23rd against the Giants.
There you go. He's quick, he's efficient, he knows where to get the information.
And he is easily distracted.
Banks came over at the 24 deadline from the White Sox. Second full season in Philly. Oh boy, this is crushed, but it's going to go left of the pole. My goodness.
Slightly ahead of that slider for Austin Riley. 112 off the bat. And they say only 400 feet. I don't believe them.
Yeah, that thing felt longer than that. Looked longer than that from here. 1-2 pitch now. Suarez has started to throw for the Braves. You just cannot say enough, though, about what Martin Perez has done tonight, getting through 6 innings and shutting out the Phillies.
Much more, I think, than anybody could expect, right? You think about even that time off. While we knew he was going to be making this start, it's still a little bit disruptive between those 2 starts for Martin Perez.
Now down goes Riley on the sweeper.
And you're thinking, okay, yeah, the Phillies are struggling. They're struggling against lefties, but it's still a good lineup, right? Can you give you 5-2 maybe would be a pretty good outing. The idea of pitching into the 6th, maybe not even necessarily on your mind and on the table, but he exceeded expectations here tonight.
And the 94 pitches for Perez, a season high tonight. And that came, remember, after 29 pitches in the first, where he got to that bases loaded jam and worked his way out of it. Softly to left, and Kemp over. A word right here from Alpha Insurance.
No matter what life throws your way, we'll be there knocking it out of the park. Getting you back home safe and sound. That's life with Alpha Insurance.
Eli White is going to step in here and hit for Yastrzemski.
A good opportunity here to get Eli back in, right? It's been a while since we had seen him as dealing with that was a plantar fasciitis, right? So make sure you get all the way back. But he's an important piece, even though we haven't seen him in a while. And thinking about these opportunities against left-handed pitchers, especially.
The stretch tonight is brought to you by Georgia Natural Gas. We'll go back to Atlanta and visit with Nick Green and Peter Moylan after one more out. Yeah, if you weren't with us the other day, Eli was sharing with us about that plantar fasciitis. Said that it started to flare up in spring training when he was jumping for a fly ball in a game. He tweaked it in Anaheim, but got an injection into his foot. It's the left foot, and he says he's feeling much better. Said at this point it's all about pain tolerance, and right now feeling pretty good. And he is feeling pretty good. Takes a 1-2 sweeper, slaps it into the gap. Olsen to third, there at the corners.
Might not seem like much in a game where you're up 7-0 right now and it's in the 7th inning, but Eli White has not taken a live at bat in 10 days. The last time we saw him in a game was on April 7th. That is a long time not to see live pitching, and to be able to hit that sweeper like that was impressive and had to feel good for Eli.
And now Dom Smith, another at bat against a lefty pitcher here. Dom 1 for 3 with a homer tonight.
Yeah, I think probably for Wald, he wants to see him get a few when the opportunities are there, and maybe they decide when he's going right if they leave him in there against certain lefties. I forgot who told me this, but they said basically if you don't want to be a platoon player, just make sure you are raking when you're getting your opportunities in this spot against the righties, so that when the lefties maybe you do get to face, you're kind of ready to go, and you can go ahead and remove that label of platoon bat.
He grounded out against the other lefty reliever Meza back in the 5th. off the end of the bat. Little shallow pop-up. We are halfway through the 7th. It is 7-0 Atlanta, and we are off to the stretch. Dip into the bullpen. We have to talk more about Martin Perez. Our strong arm brought to you by John Foy and Associates. The line tonight for the veteran lefty, and what a job he did.
Really amazing to see. Again, think about the time off and Martin coming back and stepping into this atmosphere clearly comfortable, and that's why you like having veterans in this spot for him. 94 pitches, Martin tonight, 59 of those were in the strike zone, and just an amazing job here. The offense backing him up early, giving him a little bit of breathing room, and he ran with it.
And now another lefty into the game. Jose Suarez will face 9-1-2 here in the bottom of the 7th.
That makes some sense, right? There's been struggles against lefties. Why not go ahead and throw another one out there against the Phillies?
Starts Kemp off 0-1. Kemp is 0 for 2 tonight. There was a move yesterday in the Braves bullpen in addition to Martin Perez being activated, Hayden Harris to Gwinnett, but also Ian Hamilton is up and Osvaldo Bido was designated for assignment. So another arm out in that bullpen tonight for Atlanta.
So you've had your top arms be very consistent, some of the best in baseball in that bullpen. It's been interesting for me to watch kind of what the Braves have done here with those last couple of guys. They haven't waited around. They've been very aggressive in the moves that they have made, and it's been an important role. Guys have had to take on some bigger innings, and if they feel like a guy is either struggling or they just had to move on because they needed somebody else, they have made that move. They have not waited around. And a really aggressive feel to the way that they've handled that part and the way that Walt Weiss has handled the bullpen moves as well.
Reaching for the 2-2 changeup. Kemp fouls it.
And we saw Hamilton a little bit, real quick, in spring training, and I'm sure we'll see him in a game sooner or later. A couple of years ago, he had a devastating slider, one of the best in baseball, and it looked like he started to recapture some of that in the minor leagues. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get in a game.
But that formula that Walt Weiss has been doing with aggressive replacements and then also getting new guys in the pen, it has certainly worked so far to a 12-7 start. Diving stop by Austin Riley. What a grab, and it saves a hit to start the bottom of the 7th.
And defense has been excellent all year long, and this is Austin Riley showing off again as he goes full extension. Ball hit pretty hard off the bat of Kemp, 90 miles an hour. Looked like it had a chance to get to the outfield, but that's Austin Riley over there.
So a 3-run homer earlier, now flashing the leather. Everything going the way of Atlanta so far tonight.
Going back to that conversation about the moves that we've seen with Walt, you know, I did a lot of bouncing around. Was fortunate to play for a lot of really good managers, and Sparky Anderson, obviously here with Bobby Cox, Joe Torre, Frank Robinson, a lot of Hall of Famers. And there was one consistent thing that I noticed with them: always convicted when they were making their pitching changes. They weren't thinking about it. They weren't very often talking to a guy, do I think he wants to stay in? They have a game plan. They see what they see, and they go and they make that move. And up and down the line with the greats that I've been around, that has been the one consistent that I've noticed when it comes to the pen.
Well, I'm sure when you're pitching, right, you love that. I mean, that's what you want.
100%. Everybody wants it. The offense wants it. The defense wants it, right? And knowing, hey, if a guy's struggling, he's your teammate, you're pulling for him, but he's got to be out of the game right now. He's not getting it done.
So a 4-pitch walk here to Trey Turner. 1 on, 1 out. Quick message from Valvoline.
Silence your oil change anxiety with a quick, reliable stay-in-your-car oil change.
Kirkering is getting ready for the Phillies in this 7-0 game. But right now Suarez trying to get through the 7th for the Braves as he deals to Schwarber.
Feel a little temperature drop.
Yeah,
we're starting to get started a little bit early here on kind of what's coming with the cooler temps.
Tomorrow the high 73, 55 for a high here on Sunday. 40 for a low for CJ, Kruk, and Benetti and Rizzo on Sunday Night Baseball.
So it was a little warm, and I remember thinking last night as we went out, I'm not ready for summer yet. Not ready just yet, because it felt that way, and it was thick and it was humid. I was like, can we ease into this maybe? And I'm okay going backwards, but not the 40.
Runner stays put. Yeah, 90 yesterday, and it was humid. You could feel it. It was that first day that felt, oh, okay, the heat's coming now. Schwarber last year, the 56 home runs to lead the National League. But Suarez throws him a really good changeup. He's fooled by it, and he's down on strikes.
Yeah, keep that in the back of your mind anytime a lefty is facing Kyle Schwarber, because Martin Perez did the same thing. Punched him out with the left-on-left changeup. We're seeing more of it right at a time that would be considered unconventional. But when you have really good hitters, it makes some sense to throw a wrinkle in the game plan.
So 2 down, and now Harper. Harper high and deep to right. Acuna on the track, and he's got it. Harper just missed it. The Philly fanatic says a goose egg still after 7. You betcha. Those are my nephews right there. James and Jack caught me off guard. You're looking at some future nurses and doctors maybe, presented by Kaiser Permanente. There's my brother Brett. That's James on the left, my godson. Little Jack on the right, in from Princeton, New Jersey. I tell you what, those kids they remind me of myself at that age. They want to watch every game. They probably watch on mute because of us, but they want to watch every game. But they represent in Princeton, where it's mostly Phillies fans.
Yeah.
So they have to fight tooth and nail, and they wear those Braves jerseys with pride.
And they're going to be better for it at the end of the day. And I don't even think you had to tell us that was your brother. That is a BG lookalike. It's an easy pickup.
Yep.
And of course he's got the Peter Millar on. Brothers with benefits right there. That's awesome.
That's right. My sister-in-law Tina there on the right. They are the best.
So you love seeing that, right? He's talking about the swing and maybe the follow through and having that conversation. That's really neat.
My 2 brothers were really good athletes. I don't know what happened when the gene pool got to me, but always remember my brother hitting a game-winning home run to send Harrison High School to semi-state his senior year.
That's awesome, man.
And yeah, so he knows what he's talking about when he talks to those boys.
Were you doing play-by-play for that game?
I was not. I was in the crowd going nuts. I did do some play-by-play for their games back in the day. That's how I got started.
That's amazing.
But it's wonderful to have them here tonight.
It's one of the benefits, right? Like, certainly travel can be tough. I hate that I wasn't there right tonight to see my son pitch. The upside, of course, is you make your way around the country, and friends and family that you have around the country that you get to see and kind of get to share what we do, which is amazing. It's one of the gifts of the game.
It gives you a touch point during these seasons. Big hack from Harris. 1-2. So it's Kerkering. We showed you he was warming up, and now the hard throwing righty is into the game here for the Phillies. That's one thing about that bullpen. They do have some power arms. And if you add them all together, the average is 96.5 miles per hour for the fastballs of the Phillies bullpen.
They have the second.
Is this going to get out of here? Deep to right. It's gone. Through the wind and into the seats. The onslaught continues. It's 8-0 Atlanta.
That guy's face is great. It's like, yeah, I caught it, but I don't think I really want it.
And Michael Harris's first home run as a father, so that one is for young Tripp back home in Atlanta watching tonight.
And as frustrated as Bryce Harper was in his last at-bat, this is how you do it on a night like tonight. You got a little sweeper there sitting in the middle, and you got to get the line drive to get through the wind. And Michael did exactly that.
Now the wind is going to catch this one high off the bat of Acuna. Great night for Harris. 3 hits, including that homer, and all smiles over there.
You talk about these power arms in the bullpen. Second hardest throwing bullpen in baseball when you look at that average fastball velocity. So they got that going for him here in Philly.
They haven't had much else going for them tonight. Braves jumped out in front with 2 in the first, then 4 in the second. The big swing there was the Riley homer, and they have not looked back since. For the Braves with the homers tonight, 3 of them, that's 6 home runs down the last 2 games, 27 on the year. Dodgers lead everybody, but the Braves aren't too far behind. Two balls and 2 strikes to Drake Baldwin.
So this crowd is hung in here a little bit. I ran to somebody at the hotel and they go, "Oh, you staying for the concert after the game?" No, absolutely not. They couldn't. What? You're not staying for the person I had not heard of's concert? I mean, even if it's somebody I did hear of, we're out. That's even more incentive to kind of get out of here a little quickly before the.
Let me tell you, when we hear that, we hear a chance to beat traffic.
That's right.
That's what we hear. Well, cannot get to it. Harper dived, but couldn't knock it down. 2 hits tonight for Drake Baldwin.
He does it here against the 4-seam fastball. Mentioned velocity, 97 here from Kerkering. Takes a little bit longer to search this one, but Matt Olson gets on the idea that he'd be on 5 times in a single game.
Chase Sugared in case they need him here. Let's get a quick message in right here from Zaxby's.
Zaxby's giant chicken finger quesadillas. Get them while you can. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Braves coming into tonight with a full 3-game lead in the NL East. Talked about the Phillies and their struggles. If this score holds, the Phillies will drop to 8-11. How about the Mets, CJ? They, after losing to the Cubs today, 9-game skid.
They're an absolute mess right now. Juan Soto is on the IL. Francisco Lindor looks like he's in outer space and keeps making a lot of mistakes, and it has been a really rough go of it for the New York Mets.
The Phillies and the Mets. I know it's early, long way to go, but right now, strange to see them in the bottom 2 spots in the National League East. But last year, after that 0-7 start, the Braves were always climbing uphill, just trying to battle to get back to 500, get back to 500. And a different tune here in 2026. Are you doing more Matt Olson research?
Yeah, I'm trying to. This is one that I don't think I can do on my own, and so I ask in the Slack channel, but then I always follow up with, can I do this on my own, right? So a lot of times when that happens, they'll send you a link and you can save it for the next time.
So on base all 4 times tonight with those 3 walks and the RBI single, and he's awaiting a 2-2 pitch here. Big swing. Softly out into the Bermuda Triangle, but Olson will not reach here. Harris touched all the bases to make it 8-0.
He absolutely smoked this base
fastball, low line drive, and just gets it out, and a unhappy fan made the catch.
What a half-hearted throwback. Martin Perez, 6 scoreless. Suarez a scoreless 7th, and now the lefty is back out there for the 8th. 4, 5, 6, starting with Adolis Garcia. First pitch on the carpet to Riley. 1 away. Luke Nitkowski, we told you earlier that the young man, CJ's son, threw a no-hitter. The future Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket here was the final out.
There's my wife in the background, all the way nervous down the line behind the fence. I said, "Did you get video?" She said, "No." I was too nervous. She couldn't stand near anybody. But an exciting night for them as they're trying to make their way to the postseason. And that is my child. It was a proud moment. I called him in between innings, and they have a doubleheader. I don't know how he answered, but he did. But he did. They're playing another game right now. But nice moment for him. Proud of him, excited for him, and super sad I couldn't be there.
Well, as the game was going on, you were locked in on our game, obviously, and doing your normal tremendous job. But I could tell you were the father. You were pulling from afar, and I'm so happy that he got to get that done tonight.
I appreciate it, BG. I appreciate Gretchen for throwing that on there, and excited for their group. They got a chance to make a run. They had a deep run last year, and hopefully they can do it again this year.
Yeah, that's special.
By the way, I do have some kind of, I think, sad news to report. I don't want to read this, but I think our fans will find it interesting. Matt Gelb, who covers the Phillies for the Athletics, saying that Taijuan Walker's now 9.16 ERA is the highest through the first 4 starts by a Phillies pitcher who made the opening day rotation since Paul Byrd in 2000 had a 10.19. I don't like saying it, but I saw it. I'm like, and Birdie had a great career, and obviously just a few bad starts there. But I thought it was interesting as soon as I saw Birdie's name come up.
You know how we can redeem that is we can say that 2 years before that, Birdie was an all-star.
Yeah.
So with Philly. So there you go.
And that 99 all-star game that he got to participate in, right, was, of course, the one in Boston.
Yes.
That amazing all-star game that they had. And I feel a little guilty, but I saw it and I was like, I think it's not a knock on Birdie. It's just more about what Taijuan Walker is doing has not been great.
Yeah, the Braves jumped on him tonight. Speaking of the All-Star game, it will be here this year to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So Atlanta last year, Philly this year. Reaching for it. Who's going to take it? Everybody's coming in. It's a party near the mound, and it's Dubon.
Nice little redemption here, I think, for Jose Suarez. Let up a run in his last outing, and it was a couple more, 3 in the previous outing. I think there was a little frustration on his part, and so far here tonight, it looks really good. Changeup has been on point. That is the key pitch for Jose Suarez.
2 outs, and the catcher, JT Realmuto. So they re-signed Schwarber. They also re-signed this guy, 3 years, $45 million, after his previous 5-year contract for JT Realmuto. So you get those guys back, and certainly still very capable, but the bats are aging a little bit here at Philly.
100%. That's a concern with this club. Now, the catching position was a little thin as far as what you could add, so ultimately they bring back JT Realmuto, and a guy that obviously is very familiar with everybody here in that core group that has done some things together. But it is a fair point. This is an old lineup.
Realmuto 35 now. Dubon cannot get to it. He was trying to set up to field it and spin and fire, but Real Muto reaches.
Which he has done. We have seen it, and he has done it well. Had a long way to go to get there, right? You have two options. Kind of go with that slide where you can jump up and spin, or you go full extension. And you got to make that decision. That's not a lot of time to think about what is going to be your best move.
So the inning continues on to Bone. 5 hits tonight for the Phillies. They've all come from 2 hitters. Harper has 3, and Real Muto now with a pair of singles.
Oh, you should have challenged the one before that. So they didn't. He missed it. Okay, they got it.
Pitch is called a strike. Batter's challenging.
And this is kind of how it's going right now, I think, for Bohm. But I thought he had an argument 2 pitches ago.
He has 1 challenge left.
And I'm surprised he didn't do it since they had the 2 left. It's almost like a frustration challenge in that spot.
So each team down to 1 challenge. Bouncing in here, 1-2. Olsen and Real Muto sharing a laugh. 1-2 pitch coming from Suarez. And this should end the 8th. The shutout continues. The boos continue in Philly. Citizens Bank Park, and it is all Atlanta in game 1 of this series. 8-0 as we start the 9th inning. Brandon, CJ, Wiley with you. It's been a really good night from the get-go tonight. And you are watching the
Friday Night Showdown,
presented by Kaiser Permanente.
Very nice.
We're back.
We are back.
Friday Night Showdown is back, and on Braves Vision this year, making it even better.
A little Chase Sugar here now coming out of the bullpen for the Phillies. They try to get this 9th inning done. This fastball sits 94 to 96, depending on if it's the 2-seamer or the 4-seamer. Sweeper, cutter, and changeup.
Acquired this offseason from Pittsburgh back in January. And he gets ahead of Austin Riley 0-2. Sugar just called up on Tuesday, so getting used to his new teammates here. And that fastball is upstairs. 1-2. I did want to acknowledge the passing of Garrett Anderson. For those that didn't hear, the Angels Hall of Famer, 3-time All-Star with the Angels, won a World Series there in 2002, and then played with the Braves in 2009, and unfortunately passed yesterday at 53. Deep to right field for Riley, and Austin Riley has his 2nd homer tonight. He has his 3rd in the last 2 games as he continues to heat up, and it is now 9-0.
Been an interesting night here for Austin Riley. You mentioned now the 2nd homer, 3 strikeouts, but more importantly, I just think the way that he is seeing the baseball and driving it to the opposite field may be the most important part of all of this, right? 4-seam fastball there down the middle, 95, and not trying to do too much. It's a good pitch. It's on the corner. And if you're just going to like lob it back in, then just throw it.
Yeah, just throw it.
Put something on it.
If you're going to put it out there, Yeah, put some life on it. Well, for Riley, both those homers with 2 strikes, as we talked about, both to right center, just a really good sign. And I know he struck out 3 times tonight, but 2 of those were questionable calls. You just feel that he has turned a corner now.
100%. And now it was intriguing to me now that I realized that he hasn't challenged yet this year. I'm kind of wondering how he looks at it, or just not having the confidence necessarily to do it. But yeah, he's seen the ball really well.
One ball and 2 strikes here to Ozzie Albies.
He was grinding, right? We had heard about when he was struggling there a little bit and getting into video and looking for every little thing, putting the work in the cage, and he's come out of it very nicely.
Kemp over to grab it. 1 away. But to put a bow on the Garrett Anderson thing, that obviously, 53 years old, you hate to hear it at any point, but that's sad. He was a heck of a player.
He was, and he was a rookie in 1995, also my rookie year. I faced him quite a bit and had a terrible time against him. He was one of the toughest lefties that I had ever faced, especially back when it was come out of a bullpen and only face 1 hitter. I had to do it a lot of times, 18 different times that I had faced him, and just felt like I could never get him out. Underrated, I think, as a player, quite honestly. It happens sometimes when you're playing on the West Coast, but of that generation from 99 to 2010, he was an excellent player.
And Game 7 of that 2002 World Series, he had 3 hits as well. He was such a key part of those Angels teams. And Mike Scioscia, who was the manager of that winning team in 02, just had some great remarks earlier today on Garrett Anderson. Foul ground. It is caught. A homer by Riley, 9-0. But again, our thoughts and prayers with the Garrett Anderson family and the Angels family as well tonight. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. By Delta Airlines, keep climbing. And also by Brandon and CJ, who are happy to be here in Philadelphia, and Wiley.
Yeah, welcome back, Wiley.
Yeah, welcome back, Wiley.
Take it easy down there. Is he still here?
Yeah, I think he is. He's on a little sleep, but he powered through. He came to all his pregame responsibilities, did a great interview with Tim Hires before the ball game, and ready to rock and roll.
And then what happened, Brandon?
And then you just kind of drifted aimlessly, and we worried about you. But one thing about you, Wiley, I know this from your Georgia Tech days, you always rallied. You always rallied.
Well, bottoms up Ballard. But
that's right.
I was talking more about after all that happened, the Braves up 9-0 in the ninth. I mean, that's not a coincidence.
Oh, yeah, right. So you were the tone setter.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you I didn't talk to Austin Riley about his swing before the game.
That's true. Well, give credit where credit's due. That Ballard kid's a keeper.
Actually, what I really did was talk to the Phillies about their approach, and apparently they took my advice.
Well, this would really be something if Suarez could throw the final 3 here. And you think about the idea of Perez going 6, Suarez 3. You get the win and then save the bullpen and Sale going tomorrow.
It is. You couldn't have written up any better. Again, you still got to get through this inning and make it happen, but pretty incredible the way this thing has gone up to this point.
Dylan Moore pinch hitting here. He hits it well, but it is lined into the glove of Harris. 1 away.
So if Jose Suarez finishes off this game, he will be credited with a save, right? The 3-inning save. And he will now be the 4th Brave to pick up a save this year, because it's happened a couple of times with these games. Of course, Rysel with his 4 saves. Dylan Dodd had the save in his 1 outing, and Beto picked up a save since it's been designated for assignment. So these are fun, these little 3-inning saves. And I feel like a lot of times people are like, wait, what? Why? The last 3 innings of the game. That is one of the qualifiers, right? It's, of course, if you start the 9th inning with less than a 3-run lead and finish it, or if you come in with the potential tying run on deck, And then don't forget about the 3-inning save as well, regardless of score.
And Suarez is 1 out away from it right now. It's fun because it means that the Braves are putting up some runs and having big leads to get those 3-inning saves.
And the guys that they've asked to kind of button it up have done their job. People think sometimes, oh, isn't it easier to pitch with a big lead? They're big league hitters all the time. It doesn't matter. Pressure is kind of something that you create and deal with, and they're all big outs. So even though it's 9-0, Jose Suarez is still grinding.
Turner is the final hope here on a Friday night for the Phillies. It would be the 3rd straight win for the Braves. It would get them to 13-7 and drop the Phils to 8-11. Bouncer foul. 1-2. Suarez ready, and here comes a 1-2 pitch. Just got a piece of the changeup. Again, we won't have the broadcast tomorrow. It's on Fox. Chris Sale, Chris Sanchez, and then Holmes and Painter on Sunday on Peacock NBC. 1-2. Close. You said your Sunday telecast is a little bit later, 7:20, right?
7:20 game, yep, so it'll be late. Tomorrow, I believe, is 7:15.
7:15, yeah. So 6:40 tonight, 7:15, then 7:20 here in Philly before the team heads to D.C. for 4. Payoff pitch. And he stays alive, does Turner. Popped in the air. Baldwin and Olsen over. Not enough room. Braves trying to shut out the Phillies in this ballpark for the first time since August 9th of 2020. Not easy to do here at Citizens Bank Park. Need 1 strike, 1 out to do it. Ground ball. Dubon did everything he could, but it's a single, and the inning and the ball game continue.
That's a good at bat for Trey Turner. 9 pitches into that thing. He's a good hitter. Ball was hit pretty firmly, and Dubon really couldn't get there. Not enough time.
Schwarber 0 for 3, hit by a pitch way back in the first. In the 5th, he hit a ball deep to left that he thought was out of here, but the wind knocked it down. Home run cut there, 0-1.
Impressive there. You're talking about a really good contact hitter. Left on left doesn't matter, and Suarez is able to get his fastball by him.
This feels quite a bit different from the Schwarber 4-homer game last August here in Philadelphia.
And was it Brujan that he ended up popping out against because he faced
he was going for the 5th.
Had a chance for 5.
Would have been the first time ever. ended up leading baseball with 132 runs driven in last season. Ground ball. Ozzie is there. The Braves win. Bout number 1 in this rivalry in 2026 goes to Atlanta. And the Braves 4 shutouts, most in baseball this season. Boy, just a lot to like tonight. Perez goes 6, Suarez the final 3. The Braves got up early and they stayed up late.
They did, and Suarez does a nice job closing it out. Martin Perez, I mean, just coming up in a huge way here tonight. Mentioned some of those struggles for lefties, but you still got to go out there and do it, and he did. Got through that first inning, and he and Jose Suarez cruised after that.
We'll be back to Citizens Bank Park in just a moment.